What's up, guys? It's DGC Garage here. I figured I'd post up a video about what to look for when buying a Chevy or GMC square body. Now, I love these trucks, and unfortunately the prices are getting pretty wild on condition and value, so I figure this might help a few of you out if you're in the market for one. So I'll go over top things to look for when you're going out and buying one, what to do when you're test driving it, and how to identify what's a good deal and what's not. Now, the first tip I can think of that doesn't involve actually finding a truck just yet is knowing what you want. Like, if you're looking for a two-wheel drive truck, you want to turn it into a little street rod, drive it around on the weekends, then you're obviously not going to go with a K10, K20, or a dually K30. So just know what you want before you message somebody to go look at their truck. Now, if you're wanting a bogger or a weekend warrior, something to go out camping and shooting with, then probably best with a 4x4, but that all depends on how you want to go about it. If you want to toss her in the mud and not think about it, you know, body wides and rust isn't going to really affect your decision, whereas lift and tires that are on it probably are. And you can go vice versa. If you want a street truck, you're probably going to look for one that's maybe got a little engine work, you know, a nice cam, good valve train, intake and carb set up like that, where it saves you a little bit of money buying something that's already done instead of labor hours and your hard-earned money going straight to Summit or Jegs. So for the first example I have that I'll go off my truck is I wanted a 4x4 for the winter. So K10, K20, that's kind of what I wanted, but I did originally want a 3+3 because I think the crew cabs are sweet, but I couldn't find one in my price range. So the first thing, you found what you're looking for in a truck and you're going out to look at one. The first thing that grabs everybody's attention is always the body. Look at the rust spots before you fire it up, before you pop the hood, before you do anything else. Rust. So they're prone to go out, lower fenders and cab corners and rockers. They go faster than anything else, not to mention the floor. Now, on my truck, the previous owner decided it was a good idea to just cut out the old rust, which good on him, and then instead of weld in a factory replacement part or, you know, make it look professional, he just riveted in a plate. I can't fault him for that. It's better than getting your feet wet driving down the road, but it's still something to look out for. It's not factory, it's not done correctly. Now, box sides, they tend to rust out. So does the floor of the box. In the back, I got a couple spots in the corners, but overall it's not too bad. But the main thing that you really need to look out for is the frame. They tend to crack in the back right here where the shock mounts up to the frame because it's a high stress area. Now, mine looks good. I don't see any cracks. There's not like an alarming amount of rust, but again, very important to look out for. And then, you know, your regular, like, bottoms of the doors are starting to go. The top of the hood starting to rust out, but no, that's all right. Parts are cheap and they're everywhere for these. You can get China ones, you can get a parts truck relatively cheap. You just got to know what to look for. The second thing to look out for is the mechanical integrity of the vehicle. So leaks, drips, cracked engine components, maybe an exhaust leak, a couple of vacuum leaks, all things to look out for and all things you can use to negotiate to get your price down. Now, if you're going out, you found a truck, the body's within reason, you want to take it out for a drive, you know, make sure that all your gears work if it's a manual or an automatic. If it's a 4x4, test 4 high, 4 low, all of that. And, you know, make sure she fires right up. So I got no issues right now with how she's running, which is quite nice, but you know, there's always something down the road that'll get you in trouble. So when it comes down to the engine on whichever vehicle you're looking at, you know, you got to make sure it's something you want. So when I bought this truck, it was stock intake, stock carburetor. It had some Chevy valve covers on it and some Hedman headers. Now, I wanted a little more go because she's pretty slow. I want a 6-inch lift on 35s. It's not a light truck. It's a K20, so 1-ton axles. It's a big truck. It needs to, like, get up and go. So I decided to change the intake and the carb. I do have a video posted on that if you want to check it out. I'll link it in the description. But You know, if you're looking at a C10, you want to cruise around, have some fun with your friends up in Mexico, you know, you probably want a big block, or you want a built small block that's in there. If you don't mind building your own motor and tossing it in, or swapping in a big block, then you're probably not going to be wanting to look at one that's either running or mechanically sound, because you're going to be tearing it apart anyways. Like if it's got 300,000 kilometers on it, or miles, you're doesn't really affect you if you're going to be tearing it apart and put it in like a SCAT rotating assembly or an Eagle rotating assembly, right? So it's just things to look out for. Save you a little bit of money down the line. Now, obviously, you want to make sure it fires up, runs how it should. You know, there's no bogging, there's no lagging, there's no like leaks, no fuel, no coolant, no nothing. Now, on mine, unfortunately, when I was changing out my intake and carb, I was sitting in the engine bay, and I pulled my heater core hoses a little too hard out the way, or I kicked the heater core, and I'm getting a leak. So right now I just have them teed off in the corner, and I have a new heater core to put in, but until then, it just stops it from leaking coolant everywhere. So my third point for buying a truck is looking at the tires and the suspension. Now, when I bought my truck, yeah, ugly wheels, I get it. 17s, not cool. 15s, yeah. But it had new rubber on it. So these are 35 by 12 and a half 17s, and they were new when I bought the truck. So I guess it's not cheap putting fresh rubber on a 4x4. If you're looking at like 40-inch tires, you're going to be running around $800 to $1,000 for the set. Now, if you find one that's a C10 that you like, then obviously you're not going to be putting mud grabbers on it, but that's a different story. So tires, that's a huge negotiation point. If they're worn out, they're cracked, they're dry rotted, whatever, you can normally negotiate a pretty substantial amount off of the sale price of the vehicle. And then the second is suspension. So on mine, unfortunately, it's running the cheapest lift. I bought it like this. I did not install it. It's a rough country 6-inch suspension lift. Now, what's nice is it's not blocked. It's not a body lift, but it leaves a lot to be desired. Like the ride quality is pretty junk, and I mean, it looks cool standing there, but I would prefer to off-road it and have a somewhat comfortable ride. You know, it's a mud truck. You don't really expect it to be Ferrari levels of comfort, but you know, a little extra here and there never hurts. So if you're looking at a C10 and you want to send it down the strip, then you're probably wanting like, okay, I want a built rear end, or I want a nice ladder bar setup or something. So maybe the suspension that's got on it regardless is not what you want. So, you know, you point out like, oh, the leafs are worn out, or the shocks are leaking. Now, anything to save a little bit of money, because prices are pretty whack on these trucks right now. Now, obviously, mine's not the cleanest example, so it's not a $30,000 truck by any means, but it's something nice. So, yeah. Final point is going to be the interior. This is where you spend most of your time. You know, you want to be comfortable, you want it to look nice, you know. So mine, unfortunately, is not nice. You know, I got some rusty redneck floor pans, paint's chipping off. I pulled the dash out because it was cracked, and my speedo doesn't work. You know, stuff like that. Like I got this seat cover on because the seat's all torn up underneath. Like the foam's still there, but the cover is just destroyed. I got no carpet, no insulation, no sound editing, no nothing. So it's something to look out for. Like if you don't mind putting in a little elbow grease and, you know, spending a little bit of money, you can do a nice interior for relatively cheap through some of the countless aftermarket websites like LMC or Brothers Truck. So you can get new wheels, new seat covers, carpets, insulation kits, shift knobs, anything you can think of, you can stick it in. And it's not terribly expensive. You can save a little bit of money if you go used, but that's neither here nor there. Well, I hope some of those suggestions help. You know, take everything with a grain of salt. You're not going to find one of these trucks for $500 anymore that's in relatively good condition. So, you know, it's all on how much work you want to put in and how much you want to spend. If you want something that's done 20, 30 grand, no problem. But if you want something that's like 5,000 to 6,000, you're going to need to put some elbow grease into it. So, you know, like I said, rust, suspension, tires, engine, how it sounds, how it feels, take it for a test drive, all the gears, transfer case, make sure everything works how it should. And yeah, hopefully it'll save you some money, and let me know if you find anything worth picking up. And type in the comments if you want to see anything else relating to the truck. I got a full build planned for the summer. I want to change the color, I want to fix all the rust, I want to change the wheels and tires, do the suspension. There's a pile of stuff I want to do. It'll be full interior done, but that's all on money and time, and I don't have a lot either. So hope you enjoyed the video. See you next time.